Good evening and welcome to the October 16th, 2023 Common Council of Connersville meeting. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilman Robb.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the invocation, Pastor.
Thank you. Scripture I'd like to share is Psalms 9 through 10. It says, "The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. Those who know your name trust in you. For you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you." Let's pray. Almighty God, I magnify your name and give you praise for being our Creator and loving Father. And now I thank you for our mayor, the city council, and leaders at every level in our community. Give them grace to bring truth and stability to our city. We look to you as our supreme leader, providing power and justice for all. Protect each one and move them ever closer to you. Bless each family with peace and favor in all they seek to accomplish. And may their hearts and minds be filled with your loving kindness. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome everyone this evening. I remind you, please turn your cell phone ringers off. We will begin with roll call.
Councilman Williams Jr.
Present.
Councilwoman Phillips. Present. Councilman Robb.
Here.
Councilman Gray.
Yes.
Councilman Collins.
Yes.
Councilman Warner. Councilman Barrett.
Present.
Okay, we have the minutes from the October 2nd, 2023 regular meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those? If not, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion. Second.
And a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Move on down to item 3. We have the public hearing for the OCRA grant concerning Offutt's park improvements. I'm going to ask Mike Kleinpeter to come up and do a quick presentation before we open up the public hearing.
Come on up and join me. Good evening, Council. Mike Kleinpeter Consulting. Appreciate the opportunity to be here for this evening. Notice for the public hearing was posted in the News Examiner on October 4th. This is our first official public hearing to discuss the city's HELP grant funding through the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs. We will be submitting an application for Offutt's Park in the amount of $1 million and will be contributing $88,000 in matching funds. These matching funds will consist of the city's ARPA funds. There was a meeting held with OCRA back on August 14th. OCRA reviewed the projects in our SIP plan that was put together. OCRA was looking to encourage communities across the state with these funds and these HELP funds. And what they were doing is you put your strategic investment plan together, and then they went through there and looked at how that you could leverage their funds to meet their criteria. And so with that, we had this meeting, and OCRA strongly encouraged the city to do a preliminary engineering report on the Offutt's Park project. So with that, we did a request for qualifications for engineering firms. There were 4 firms that submitted. There was a committee that interviewed those 4 firms, and HWC was selected to work on the plan. They put together a preliminary design and a cost estimate, which we're going to talk about a little bit, but that's kind of how we got here today. We want to make sure that citizens are informed and have an opportunity to ask questions or voice concern or support for the project. This money is already allocated to the city, but you still have to go through the normal application process through OCRA. And so what that means is we have to do a first public hearing, take feedback, do a second public hearing, then we'll submit an application early January is the timeline we're on. So with that, I'll turn it over to Rebecca to talk a little bit about the project.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Mahoney. I'm a landscape architect with HWC Engineering, and I was a part of the process of developing this concept and cost estimate for Offutt's Park. So what you have in front of you here is the overall site plan concept for Offutt's Park. It consists of the 8-acre park that already exists and the 1.7 acres that is city-owned right-of-way there on the west side of the site. So this project will have improvements that include a 3/4 of a mile asphalt walking trail that's 8 feet wide. It will have improvements to the existing asphalt entrance drive and parking area, as well as addition additional parking improvements to make that parking area have more parking spots for perpendicular parking. There'll be fitness nodes with exercise stations there that will be accommodate all ages and abilities. And then we're also providing a shelter there for to be programmed in many different ways. So that could be programmed for fitness programming such as yoga, or any way that you really want to program it. You can do crafts in the park, or it can be rented out to local residences. So, and then we're also allocating space for improvements to your playground area, your existing playground area, but it's not included as part of this because OCRA no longer does playgrounds as part of the improvements. And then we're also connecting, the reason why we're kind of going into that 1.7 acres of right-of-way is because we're connecting up to 35th Street and 32nd Street to the south, where there's already an existing footpath where people are walking through the site. And in the future, that will connect up to Walmart to the north. And then also, there are trail nodes throughout the trail. You can kind of see them throughout. They're the little white node areas. The one on the southeast side will connect, is a future area that you could connect the Nickel Plate Trail to also. So, and this project will also include sidewalk improvements that will connect to the basketball court and the futsal court. And that's really just to make that ADA compliant. And there will also be improvements to the existing basketball court to make it a full half court. And then if you turn the page, there's a zoomed in area of that shelter space. So that shelter will be a 35 by 35 foot shelter with some security lights, a drinking fountain, hand washing station, hand sanitizing station, the concrete sidewalk around it, as well as some grilling areas. And if you look at the cost estimate, like I said, we're doing an 8 foot wide trail. Most of the demolition for the site would be minimal, would be grading or earthwork improvements for utilities, such for the water, for the drinking fountain and stuff. And then the fitness stations is including the equipment and poured-in-place surfacing for that, because it's likely that children will climb on that, so you want to have some sort of surfacing. And then the hardscape improvements and the furnishings. So we're coming into about $1 million, which is what we have for the funding.
So with that, I know there might be some questions out there. We originally were looking at doing 2 different projects. The one at the park and one at Roberts Park. And you guys might say, why are we not still looking at 2? The main issue was once we did the PER came in, I think it was initially like $850,000. And that only left $150,000 left to maybe put into Roberts Park. And with the OCRA federal funding, there's a lot of additional costs that come into it when you use the federal funding. You have grant administration fees, you have Davis-Bacon wages, and then you've got OCRA driving the timeline and making you do a series of steps which drive up your cost. And so one of the discussions, the mayor, Joe Lisa was involved in that, was, do you take that $100,000 into the Roberts Park and have all that federal requirements that are going to increase your cost at bidding, or does it make sense to spend them all here? And so that's kind of how we got here, in case you have any questions. Mayor, what am I leaving out?
No, that was really the driving force, was it was gonna make the cost of that other project a lot more, and there wasn't gonna be much dollars. They weren't gonna let us use much of the money on that project, so why go through all the costs of making that project more expensive for just a little bit of dollars? So that's why we just kind of shifted everything over to here.
Yeah, and the other big thing too, just in full transparency with everybody, is we're on a pretty strict OCRA timeline to have an application submitted in January. And OCRA made it clear to the committee that they wanted this project moving forward first. Well, because we kind of had to run simultaneous paths, it would have meant we had to immediately start the other PER and everything, and it seemed like OCRA wanted to see this project go before they allowed the other project. And if we ran into any roadblocks, we didn't have a lot of time to recover, and it just wasn't worth the potential risk of losing some grant money as well. I think that's a fair
Yeah.
statement.
Yeah, this is the project everyone wants to focus on. That's the easy way to say that.
But the other project is going to be done. That's, yeah, I mean,
Maybe not to what, everything we were doing, like this
Right.
project completely changed, like, you don't see a fitness court there, we took it out.
yeah, but I just want everybody to know that that is not shelved and
Right.
gone.
Oh, yeah, it's not
So it's
not
still,
gone.
so the city committed their ARPA funds to this project. They
Right.
still have to do the Roberts Park project. It's just now, you can follow local rules, pick your engineer, pick your designer, do all that, whereas if you used OCRA, you were really limited in your options.
I just wanted to make sure that the
Yeah.
public aware didn't think
No, that was a
that
great
one was being
question.
scrapped.
No. And you can say, I mean, we've had a few questions on why we took the fitness court out. When we were doing our meetings early on, a lot of people wanted a shelter out there. And we thought, we don't know if we could do a shelter and a fitness court. We took the fitness court idea. There was some matching grant money out for that, but as I called other mayors, and actually HWC brought to our attention, is I'm not for sure that they get used as much. So we began calling other mayors that put these in, they all said the same thing, yeah, we had high hopes, but it doesn't get used, where these fitness stations get used more. So it made sense to us to spread it out, get more of a walking trail system or path around there with the fitness stations, and then put the shelter in the middle, because the shelter was what people was really after.
So as far as timeline, we have our public hearing tonight. We'll have a second public hearing in December/January. We'll submit an application in early January. This money's already allocated for us. We just gotta go through these steps, but that's kind of where we are, as far as timeline. There is a sign-in sheet going around. If everybody will take a minute to sign that. That is all I have for you, Council.
Okay,
Mayor?
the orders of process, I want to open it up for a public hearing, and then once the public's done commenting, I'll open up for council comments, that way you guys can stick around answering questions. So I will now open up the public hearing for the OCRA concerning Offutt Park improvements. Does anyone from the public have anything they'd like to say?
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, so we have been discussing this. We've been discussing it all year, almost. And so we're really excited about this new opportunity. It is not what we originally had discussed. Like the mayor had said, we had discussed the fitness court. But we feel in changing it, this is going to utilize the entire property better. It's going to allow for an additional walking path, which eventually, you know, hopefully we could connect those. And then that's also going to allow individuals to get from the Roberts Park. They can get to this park, and then they will eventually get to Walmart. They'll be able to have connecting paths, and then this will allow for a safe area for people to walk. The fitness court is going to also help with the mayor's goals in the health and wellness of this community, and that's really why we wanted to make sure that these stations were put in there, so that as people are walking, if they do want to, they can step off to the side and they can do some of those exercises, which is also what is going to be taking place in Roberts Park next spring. We have a Boy Scout that's going to be putting stations in at Roberts Park, and so that's just going to tie everything in together. And we're really excited about this project, and we feel like it's the best use for this property.
Anyone else from the public have any comments? Okay, if not, I will close the public hearing and open it up for council comments or questions.
I think my only question is, we still don't have any restroom facilities at this park. Is that gonna be in a plan at some point?
Not in this plan, that requires more sewer infrastructure, water infrastructure, and then,
Right.
to be honest, we're having a lot of issues with our restrooms being vandalized and torn up. We spend a lot of time fixing broken restrooms. So and there's no park office here, so it's kind of an outlier. The infrastructure is the biggest deterrent with that.
Do we see a lot of, I don't want to butcher it, the foosball court being utilized a lot?
I don't know, Reed gave a grant, that was before us. I'm not for sure. I think Reed gave a grant to redo that, so I don't know.
To redo it, or,
They
because isn't that
re-
in that, isn't that what?
they resurfaced it.
Yeah, they resurfaced it and there's technicals in, but I'm not familiar with when that
Right,
was
right.
done. I honestly have not seen anybody use it since we've been over there, or since, like, when I drive around and everything.
I
But
live-
that's
I
during
live
the
there and I
day,
don't see it.
So, you know, they may use it in the evenings.
Right. It tends to be a parking lot for pedestrians, more than its actual use. So I'm just wondering if we go through here, if we could maybe minimize, or if there's a way to cut certain things, that might be a way to look at something that isn't necessarily needed, and it could maybe set us up for something different in the future. I hate to invest in something that literally does not get used.
It's already there.
It's already there.
Yeah, it's
It's
already.
no,
It's-
no,
it's already
no
there.
Right, but you're
additional
talking about
cost.
resurfacing it.
No, no,
No, no, no.
Just the,
Just the basketball court.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, Reed resurfaced that, and to
Okay.
change that, we'd have to get Reed involved with that as well, because they put their money in on that. But the basketball courts wasn't even resurfaced
Okay.
and changed, because right now, they got 2 goals, but it's a small court. with
Right.
No 3-point lane. If you turn it sideways, you can put the 3-point lane, and it's a half court, but it's a true half court.
yeah, the only improvements that we're doing to the foosball court is providing access paths to make it ADA
Okay.
accessible and
Gotcha.
putting a bench nearby.
Any other questions or comments from council? Okay, if not, we just need a motion to approve this going forward, correct?
So moved.
I have a
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I'll go sign these and- Yes, sir.
Thank you, council.
Thank you. Oh, I'm on Zoom. I was gonna say. I started to
Good.
panic a little bit. Okay, I was looking for him.
We're good.
Okay, item B, approval of resolutions 2023-83 and 2023-84, IC code transfer. No, it's a resolution, no, I'm sorry, go ahead, Rosemary.
Resolution 2023-83 is a resolution to transfer $4,039.90 from the COVID SHSHP Homeland Security Fund into general. Resolution 2023-84 is a resolution to transfer $60,000 of the airport non-reverting into the Airport Trust Indiana code.
Any questions for Rosemary? Now I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2023-83 and 84.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item C, approval of pending ordinance 3926, transfer of fire. Rosemary.
Pending ordinance 3926 is an ordinance to transfer within the fire department, moving $47,000 from retirement and disability into fringe, and moving $10,000 from medical exams into fringe.
Questions or comments? Not entertain a motion to approve pending ordinance 3926 on first reading.
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Do I have a motion for third and final reading?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item D, approval of resolution 2023-85. This is the preliminary tax abatement. Over here. This is not the final one, this is just a preliminary one. You all have the tax abatement, we need the schedules being, the schedule will be attached to the next one. This one's just the 5-year, what was agreed to on the tax abatement committee, and then we will do another hearing for the final one, so. Any questions on the preliminary resolution 2023-85, the preliminary tax abatement? If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve, that's hard to say, preliminary tax abatement, resolution 2023-85.
Motion.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item E, approval of memorandum of understanding with local 2202 fire department. The Board of Works did approve this today. The Board of Works, they're the ones who deals with any issues, and this is a memorandum of understanding. Just clarification on contract over point. Any questions on that? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with local 2202 fire department.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Move on down to department reports, starting with Chief Hardin.
Good evening. Everyone should have a copy of my September report. We had a total of 302 calls for service for the month of September. Year to date, that put us 2,894. Have our staffing report. Below that, we're on fuel. I told you last month that I would add along to the fuel, which was the fuel tax rebates. As we do them, we're doing them monthly for the ones that, or at least for, I am doing them monthly. If they did them by bulk before, and I'm just, I don't want that much at one time. I want to keep it very simple, and I just want to do it as I go, so we'll do it monthly. We had 16 staff hours for football coverage. We did a touch a truck for God's Little Blessing. That was really cool. They really enjoyed that. And then we had 64 staff hours at the food truck challenge. See my normal graphs, calls by nature on a page there. If you go back to just about the second to last, there's a letter from ABS, who's our billing service and compliance company. Back in the spring, I had asked them about our the credit card fees. So every month we pay a flat percentage for billing services, and then we also have to pay the exchange fees for credit card usage. And that kind of sparked a little bit of discussion. They ended up doing a survey of all the departments that they bill for, and you see 95% of us wanted somebody else to pay them besides us. I made a point at Board of Works that most of it's between $200 and $350 a month, so we're not talking a huge amount of money. And by and large, that is insurance companies that have small balances and they pay with what's called a virtual credit card. And it's easier for them, they don't have to run a check, they don't have to, but then we're the ones paying the exchange fees. So there's a process for us to opt out of that, and it's going to be all of ABS's customers is going to opt out of that option. But it's going to take some time. I'm guessing a year for that to filter out because of the disclosures that have to be made and all so forth and so on. So most of those fees are not an average person paying a small balance with their credit card. It's these insurance companies that are paying with a virtual credit card. I don't understand all the nuances of that, but it's going to save us maybe $3,000, $4,000 a year. I mean, it's not huge money, but it's $3,000 or $4,000 a year. So. Does anybody have any questions on about that or anything in the report? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Superintendent Steele.
Good evening. So I wanted to give an update on Community Day of Sharing. We had a great day. There was a lot of people that came out. I believe there was close to 300 that came out through and spread out throughout the town. And unfortunately, we did not make it to 2nd Street Park, but we did have some volunteers that came to Roberts Park And we worked on pulling weeds and preparing our flower beds for winter and cleaning windows at the Miller Building. So it ended up being a great day. The weather was beautiful and we had a great turnout. The Renaissance Fair was a success. We were really excited about that. We weren't sure what who was going to come out. And so we partnered with the farmers market, and they took care of all of the vendors, and I believe we had about 30 vendors that came, plus a children's area as well. And then we did the Highland Games. Those were a lot of fun. We originally had one person sign up for the Highland Games, and then at 5 o'clock, all these guys showed up, and they wanted to participate. And so that made it for a really fun evening, and lots of people came out to watch them show off their skills in the heavy man competition. And so that was a lot of fun. We had wonderful feedback, and a lot of people were asking us to come back and do it again next year. So that's our goal. We would love to continue that on as a yearly activity and event. So that it was just such a great evening. Trunk or treat, it's almost here, October 30th. We are still looking for individuals or organizations to come and set up their vehicle to help hand out candy to the community. So if you want to participate, just contact the Parks Department and we'll get you signed up. Christmas in the Park, we are still doing registrations for light displays. So if you'd like to set up a light display, also contact the Parks Department because we would love to have you participate. Roberts Park, I'll just touch on the play set from the last meeting. We are having that worked on this week, and so hopefully within this week or next week it'll be up and running again at Roberts Park. The Connersville Veterinarian Clinic had their vaccine clinic on October 7th, and they donate the proceeds to the Parks Department to go towards the Bark Park, and they ended up raising over $2,300. So that was a successful event for them. We're thankful for that partnership. They come out and do that every year, and then they donate to the Bark Park so that we can keep that up and running for our community. I will touch that the restrooms at the park will be closed around the first week of November. We're going to leave it open through trunk or treat, and then that week they'll end up preparing them, cleaning them, and getting them ready for the winter. So they will be closed probably the first week of November. Soccer completed this weekend. We had a great season, and we'll look forward to next season in the springtime. So we'll probably start registrations around February of next year for soccer, for spring soccer. Girls basketball signups have closed, and those games will begin in November. And then boys basketball registration is currently going on through November 17th. So there's plenty of time to register for boys basketball, and then those games will start after the first of the year. I'll just reiterate that the first responders community trunk or treat is October 30th from 5 to 7 at the Roberts Park, and then Christmas in the Park open house. We will have Mr. and Mrs. Claus. We will have carriage rides, an open house in the Miller Building with booths, activities, things like that. That's December 7th from 5 to 7. Does anybody have any questions?
I do. Have you sent the trunk or treat papers to the schools? I haven't seen anything come through yet, so I wasn't sure if you've sent flyers.
No, but I will.
We've had several, like there's a lot going on.
I don't believe that was one that we sent. I know that we sent some, but I think that was for basketball registrations. So I'll
Yes, I've
check
seen
on that.
those. We would need it by this Friday because we're out all next week, and then it's that following Monday.
Yeah, I can do that. They're pretty quick on responding when I send in the request, so. Yep, thank you for that reminder. I will definitely do that. Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Jones.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The monthly report for the Connersville Fire Department for September. Start off with the overtime. We had a total overtime of $3,794.67. The manpower shortage of that total was $1,294.56, and the FLSA was $2,500.11. September was a 3-pay month, so that was pretty good month for overtime for us. As you can see, the total at the end, we're running really well this year compared to the last couple years. Moving on down to fuel usage, we used 384 gallons of fuel for a total cost of $1,561.07. Total incidents for the month, we had 174. 38 of those were fire-related incidents, 121 EMS-related, and we had 15 auto accidents. Training hours, we had a total of 60 and a half total instructed hours for the month. 44 and a half of those were fire-related, 16 of those were EMS-related training hours. Had a total of 6 inspections. Inspections were down a little bit in September. Guys were busy doing a lot of other things. And we had a total of 4 hours of fire investigation for the month. Below you'll see a few other things that we have going on. We did take applications. We received 13 applications. We had 3 that we had to disqualify for not including the required documents. So we have 10 remaining. The first step of the process was the physical agility test, which was originally scheduled for this past Saturday, and I postponed it due to weather. We're going to have that this Saturday, so we should have 10 applicants going through that. The new radio project is almost complete. We did receive our portable radios, and they came and installed all the mobiles in all of the trucks. We're waiting on the station-based radios to be finished up. They had to order a little bit more equipment to get those done, so we're excited to get those up and running. The SCBA's were postponed again. They're due to ship. I put arrive, I think it's actually a shipping date, October 30th, so it'd be nice to get those and get those in combination with the new radios. That'll be a nice upgrade. And I also delivered the kindergarten through 3rd grade fire prevention materials to all of the elementary schools in the county. And we're able to deliver these due to all the donations. A lot of different companies and businesses throughout the city and the county donate funds that allows us to purchase those and deliver those, hand those out to the kids. So that's all I have. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. I know Chief Bolos is sick, so we'll go with Mike.
Mike's gone.
Bottom one.
Sorry.
Monthly report for utilities. I laid a financial report at your spots earlier. We didn't quite get those ready last week in your packets. Overtime report, $7,101. $1,100 that was scheduled overtime. Attached is our work orders, some of our work orders, water plant, wastewater plant report. I want to spend a little bit of time tonight on discuss 2 of our IDM water protection programs that we run. One is our wellhead protection program, and the other is our MS4 program. I've attached a short description of each on page 7, I believe. It kind of describes each program that we are doing. So the first is our wellhead protection. It requires us, IDM requires us to protect our underground drinking water. As you know, we have 7 active wells, so we got to protect our aquifers, how we supply our city with water. So first thing we need is 5 components. The first one is formation of a local planning team, which we have done. It includes utilities management, water plant operators, Max Shirt from the Health Department, and Marla Steele from the Parks Department. Second component is a delineation of the wellhead area, which has been done by Westlers a few years ago. Did a study. There's a map, I think on the last page, that has a simple map of the area that is needs to be protected for problems. The third component is we have to do a complete inventory of the potential contaminant sources. So simply what the planning committee does is we look at the map and we highlight the areas, factories, things that could cause problems with our well. We make a list, addresses, phone numbers, in those areas, and we let those people know in those areas that, spills, those type of items they need to watch for. If something does spill, they need to give us a call, okay? The fourth is the management planning and public education, which is kind of what we're doing tonight, let the public know what we're doing. We also send out flyers. There's some sample flyers, I think, in the packet. We also, at times, put things on Channel 3 and our Facebook page. And the fifth thing is a contingency planning. It also was developed by Westlers, and it's part of our local planning team is to make sure this emergency list is updated yearly. We take a look at all the daycare in the city, health facilities, schools, emergency personnel, just to make sure phone numbers are still there. If any new daycare, any new schools has developed, we add them to the list or take away items that's no longer in the city. So that's pretty much the wellhead part of it. We also educate the departments, police department, fire department, parks department, street department, and all that too. So is there any questions on the wellhead? The second is the MS4, which we've talked about in the past. It stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System. This was established to prevent stormwater pollution and improve the water quality of our local bodies. It has four components. First one is public education again. Like I said, we flyers, Facebook, Channel 3, and things like this to let the public know. The second component is illicit discharge, which is pretty much any discharge to a stormwater system that's not stormwater. And a lot of that would be like factory spills, tanker spills, things like that. And also our pre-treatment program kind of helps alleviate that too, when we visit the factories and stuff and look at their facilities and how they store their chemicals. And the third item is a construction site inspection. Any new constructions over 1 acre or more, we have to inspect, and pretty much we look at erosion control. Is there any concrete cleanouts? Their stormwater site control, like when it's completed, where their stormwater is going. Is it going straight into our system? Do they have capabilities of holding the water back? Things like that. We look at backflow devices and grease traps. We try to visit sites 3 times. Initial visit, maybe halfway done. Then at the conclusion of their construction, we like to visit and inspect their areas. The fourth component is good housekeeping. We inspect the transfer station, wastewater, maintenance building, the service building, street department and parks department, and pretty much we look for how they store their grease, oils, paint, fuel. We look for spill kits. We inspect their drains, make sure we see no sign of chemicals being washed down the drain. That's kind of a short description of the 2 programs, but it's something that we need to do at least talk about yearly according to IDEM. If you want more on the subject, I can send you a copy of the plan, or you stop by and we talk about it. Is there any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You ready?
Got a big list of stuff to cover, but I shortened it. So, first of all, let me tell you, we're gonna be working downtown tomorrow from 6th to 7th Street, getting the rest of the plants in, so people might wanna avoid that area. And Western Avenue
is going to get its microseal coat on, starting on Wednesday, and I think he told me that, didn't he say 4 days? I think 4 days to do that.
I believe so.
So maybe possibly they'll be done by the end of the week if they get good weather, but I think they'll run over into Monday. So a couple of the things I wanted to tell you about, I brought it up to the board of works, I'm gonna bring it up again. Richard P. passed away. He was our oldest living city employee, and he had been a fireman. He began on the fire department in 1946. So I heard this evening that his roommate, Bob Nobby, passed away today too, and I don't know if any of you remember, he was our bicentennial torchbearer, I think, for the city, wasn't he, in 2013? Yeah. So it was ironic, they were in the same room. But I wanted to tell you about a few things we're working on, and I'll keep it brief. You'll notice we have pressure relief valves out in the system, and I meant to bring that list and read them, but I'm gonna post those in the morning. So I told you before that we're gonna have hydrants that are gonna look like they're running water for the next couple, 2-3 weeks as we take our Elephant Hill water tank down and work on it and clean it. So if you see water hydrants running out at the outskirts of the city, it's not going to be too abnormal. But if something looks weird to you, it's okay to call in, because maybe it is. Maybe it's something. That's a few of the things that we have going. I wanted to tell you that we've been spending quite a bit of time getting ready for Noble X and all the new infrastructure. Probably been spending, I'd say, a fourth of my time working with those guys on site and through Zoom meetings and things. They're going to be using 15 million gallons of water, so it's pretty important to get it right, make sure we don't mess this up, and 5 million gallons of sewer flows. So
A month.
beg your pardon?
It's a month.
What'd I say?
Just want to make sure there's not a year.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
a month.
Yeah, 15 million gallons a month.
That's a big boost.
Well, our total usage in a month for the whole city is about 30 million, so quite a bit.
Yeah.
I want to bring up the stoplight at 9th and Central and give you guys a chance to weigh in. I think we've been talking about it internally, what we might do with that. We have several other stoplights that are very antiquated like that one. I've been talking to Derek, and he's been looking for parts for it, but he hasn't done it. They're just, everybody's looking for parts for those old things just to try to keep them going and kick the can down the road. But we've just been thinking that that four-way would work pretty well there. And I was kind of interested, before we get into the ordinance form, hearing what your wishes are.
The only comment I have is in favor.
Yeah,
In favor of the four-way?
four-way, yeah.
And it'll be better when it's not in the middle of the street too.
Yeah.
The signs out, that kind of makes it a little more, but the only comments, I've not had any negative comments. But I have had positive ones.
It seems to be working right now. Anytime that I go through there, I feel like it's flowing
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
everybody's doing it.
quickly, easily.
I got in trouble on Facebook a little for saying it should flow pretty nicely, but it turns out it's flowing pretty nicely from what I've seen.
Yeah.
It seems to be when I'm there, but
Yeah.
maybe I'm not hitting some sort of weird traffic
Time
moment.
or something,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I've not had a
haven't
close
had a
call or
problem.
anything there.
I haven't either.
Part of it's just getting used to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is
kind
there
of a good
anybody
thing.
that thinks it's a bad idea to make it a four-way?
I think having that there will kind of help when it is, maybe if we make it one, people will already, rather than just changing it and then have to get used to it.
Well, these are gonna come up as we go along, because there's a lot of those that,
You
they
can't get
serve,
parts, you can't get parts for those old ones at all.
I think we have a dozen that are of that same era.
Yeah.
And at one time, they were important, because when you had the traffic from the factories, they were trying to shoehorn through one way or the other. But some of those, you know, they're the one at 8th and Grand, we periodically have trouble with, and that might be another one to think about going forward sometime.
Right.
But so for now, I guess we get into the formal ordinance change for that. Okay. Anybody have any questions about?
You didn't mention the leaf pickup.
Yeah, so that's supposed to start on the 30th.
Yeah.
We kind of been watching the weather to see if we needed to start earlier, but it looks like that's gonna be about right, I think. So I'll be posting that stuff and putting it in the paper as we get a little bit closer.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Director Policy.
Chair, hit the right button so I'm on camera. I think I did. For the month of September, we had 11 hours, 5 minutes of meeting production, 21 hours, 50 minutes of original production. And if you look at the report, I've got a printout there of the YouTube analytics, so you can see what's popular and what's happening there. That gives us a little bit of a view. Keep in mind that we still have a lot of cable subscribers as well, and we can't get those numbers. So off YouTube, 10,300 views, 2,100 hours of viewing, and 3,206 subscribers. And as you can see, the top content was football. People enjoyed watching that. Just a reminder, we've got the mayor's candidate debate coming up this Friday. It will be live at 7 on Channel 3 as well as our YouTube channel, which if you are not subscribed to, you can find at Local TV3. Just search Local TV3, subscribe, and then click the notify button. You'll know when we go live. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Moving down to old business, we have the final reading of pending ordinance 3906, which is the City of Connersville budget. John, you want to make sure Adam's on?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, good evening. I'm just on the phone, but I just wanted to, we're at the final meeting tonight for the second reading of the 2024 budget, and happy to answer any questions that you may have.
The budget in your packet is different from the last one that you received. They are highlighted green this time. Since the first reading and where we weren't able to apply for the appeal, we were able to find the $250,000 that will be transferred back from the food truck battle, and that enabled us to put the mayor's secretary back in there, start January 1st, and the community coordinator second quarter start.
Anyone have any questions for Adam or Rosemary? They're here.
No.
Okay. Well, if there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the third reading of pending ordinance 3906, the City of Connersville budget.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Okay, just wanted to say real quick, Mayor, if I could, just want to say thank you all, congratulations. I just want to say thank you to Rosemary, all the council members, mayor's office, and department heads for a long, but productive process for 2024. Hope you all have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks, Adam.
We went down to miscellaneous business. I'm sorry, any other old business? Got to close that out first. Miscellaneous business. Anybody in the miscellaneous business? You want to talk about this one?
Today at the Board of Works, a group asked to close part of the downtown, I think it was from 4th to 6th, am I correct?
4th to 7th.
4th to 7th. On Saturday, October 28th, downtown, from 3 to 6 p.m., there will be a Halloween treat street, they call it. There will be businesses down there handing out candy and treats for the kids. There's a trick-or-treat, Halloween costume contest at the Oasis, fun and games, and arts and crafts also at the Oasis. It's sponsored by Downtown Merchants and Discover Connersville, And they're to be commended for this because they put this together in a very short time. It was discussed at the last Discover Connersville meeting, I think, and within 2 or 3 days, they had it completed. And so it looks like a really fun time for everyone. Again, that's Saturday, October 28th, between 4th and 7th, from 3 to 6 p.m. So everybody come and enjoy.
I think there's one at the high school. Do any of you know? The same night, right? Yeah. So that would be a good night for the
Go
community.
both
Yeah.
places. Yep.
The high school and then downtown.
Just one note, Fifth Street will not be closed, so
Right.
People still go east to west. But Central Avenue will be. I'm excited about this one because it's our local downtown businesses coming together, bringing people to downtown.
Right.
And they did it all on their own. I love that. That's a big thumbs up for all of our businesses downtown and Discover Connersville for working with them. That made my day when they did that. That's what we're trying to do. More and more people getting involved, coming up with ideas and just doing it.
Yep.
That makes me more excited than anything. Any other miscellaneous business?
I was gonna say, and I feel like all of the events, there's more people showing up. At the Ren Fair last week, I felt like there were a lot of people there. So everything that's happening, people are showing up.
Yeah, and that leads me to my last one on miscellaneous business was the Tri-State Food Truck Challenge. That was absolutely a phenomenal event. Blown away by how many people came. We had 12,800 cell phones enter that area. And we subscribe to something called Placer AI, the Redevelopment Commission and the EDG funded that, and now we can count. I draw a geofence and select a time period, and it tells me how many people come to our events. We use that for multiple purposes. It helps us when we market. We can be strategic on where we market now, because I can tell you where they come from by zip code. And it was kind of interesting, when we were doing the grand opening for the road up on Opportunity Drive, I was talking to the company that's building there on the corner, and guess how they decided to pick Connersville in that location? They use Placer AI. So it's all about demographics. It tells them where to go. So we're going to use that when we market and do different things for attraction pieces. And I'm excited about that. It's a learning curve. I'm learning how to use that thing. It's very detailed, but that's how we know how many people came to Tri-State Food Truck Challenge. And that was a successful event. You heard Rosemary say we're going to transfer that money back, as we said we would. But the total spend, we were upside down $5,400. If I looked at the last fund report, is that correct?
I didn't even look at that.
I think that's
This
what you
morning I
said.
looked at it, it was $5,400. So that event cost the city $5,400. I think for bringing 12,800 people through for $5,400 was a huge success.
Yeah.
We collected back on parking fees, even though we changed, that was one of the big things we had to change the most was parking. So there's a lot of money we didn't collect, we could have, but at that point, we didn't care. We were just getting people in safely and getting them out safely. And that was a huge success for our community. It showcased our airport. I've had more airport board members come back to me and say, man, they've never had anything like there. So many people came up and said, we didn't realize you even had an airport, let alone this nice. And my answer always is, well, we were voted the best airport east of the Mississippi. And that's a huge award to get, and we just need to showcase that airport. It was a beautiful event, tremendous success, and I'm still tired because of it. It was a lot of work. But it was just a tremendous day. So I just want to thank you to all the volunteers, hundreds of volunteers that came out to work that day. They worked their tails off. Amanda and Hillary, just the organization behind that was phenomenal. I said we got about 90% of it right with 10% fixed. I think that's pretty good for your first event, especially that magnitude. So there are some things we can fix, make better, and that's part of everything. We dissect everything. Okay, what do we do good? What do we do bad? How do we make it better? So going forward, I think that event will be a huge success, and I don't have an answer when we're going to do it again. If we do it next year or we do it every 2 years, we got a lot of meetings to take place because it's a lot of work. So, but that was a fantastic event. It highlighted our community and showcased our airport. Any other miscellaneous business?
I have something. The last art stroll of the year was last Friday, and it was great. I mean, the crowd, it was well attended. They even had the flash mob dance. They had a band. Do you know the name? I know the people that were playing, but I don't remember. I apologize. Rick Coleman's band, and Denny Richardson from Glenwood area played with them, and I forget who else, but they were real. Oh, Jack Daniels, and I can't remember the other, but they were really good. It was a good time. It was flash mob was participated by all ages. It was really cool. The art museum, or the Arts Association had on display their items for their auction, which is coming up November 4th. And it was a great night. It's the last one for this year, but we're looking forward to next year because it gets bigger every time.
Any other miscellaneous business? I'm down to public. Anyone from the public, anything to say? Speech? Come on, Murray, you can do it. Okay. If not, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Have a motion second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Have a good evening.